Hi everyone, I'm Paul. Hi, I'm Paul. I'm the Global Head of Makeup for Kryolan, and today we're going to be playing around with a nice festive seasonal look. So we've gone for a 3-tone smoky eye and then layered that with some complementary colours from our Polyester Glimmers. I've prepped the skin to begin with the Dermacolor Collagen Cream, and I'm going to start by applying our Digital Complexion Fluid Foundation. I'm mixing 2 colours from our skin range. This is P01 and P05. I'm using the traditional foundation brush to mix my foundation and just place the foundation onto the skin. And then I'm going over the top of that with my dew fibre brush, and I'm just kind of stippling on top of the surface of the foundation. This is going to give us more of a pinpoint accuracy. So what that does is it helps to give a more natural impression of the skin. When you look closely at natural skin, you'll find it's made up of tiny little specks of colour. So it'll be freckles, it'll be potentially blemishes, and then we have little tiny nuances of colour within our skin. So using the dual fibre brush over the top of your foundation application basically recreates that. So everything looks a little bit more natural, a little bit more flawless. The nice thing about the Digital Complexion as well is that you can go in and reactivate afterwards. So if you want to touch up, it's self-setting. So you can go back in and add more and just blend that down back into your original application without there being any problem with the connectivity. The next product I'm going to be using is from our Glamour Glow range. This is the Elegance palette. It's got a lot of beautiful warm skin tones that we're going to use to highlight, add a little bit of a bronze to the cheek and a little bit of a fresh blush. So I like to use these real soft blending brushes. So when we're highlighting cheekbones, it's really important to make sure that the highlight sits on top of the cheekbone. You don't want that kind of falling down too much onto the cheekbone itself, because then it can distort the shape of the face. So I'm going to start with a shade called Rosy Sensation. I'm working in small circular motions. We don't want there to be too harsh a stripe. I'm slowly buffing the product into the skin, and then I'm using the brow bone as well to bring it down and connect to it. So we've got that nice highlighted area there. And the key thing with Glamour Glow is, due to its micropigments, it's naturally really reflective, and it gives us a really beautiful transparent sheen to the skin. You don't need to add a lot of product to actually accentuate that effect on the skin. The key thing is to actually buff the product into the skin. The more you buff it, the more luminescent it becomes. I'm going to use a tiny amount of that just on the center of the chin, just a little bit onto the bridge of the nose, and a little bit through the forehead. Just kind of where you basically get your natural kind of beautiful shine. So using the same brush, I'm now going to use Juicy Moon. Now this is a really universal blush. It works on every kind of skin tone, basically because it's based on melanin, which is something that we all carry within our skins. You'll find that it suits absolutely everyone as this beautiful, fresh blush. I'm just going to take whatever is remainder on my brush, just onto the tip of the nose and the tip of the chin. I'm now going to use a graduated angle brush. It lends itself perfectly to sweep across the cheekbone. So I'm going to use the colour Sun-Kissed. I'm just going to work it over the top of the blush and connect the blush to the highlight, just in nice sweeping motions up towards the hairline. And it's just going to connect that application of the highlight, the blusher and the cheekbone itself. And again, just bringing that bronzer in just a little bit across the jaw, tiny amount into the temples to give it a little bit of connectivity throughout the complete look. I'm going to start by applying our eyeshadow primer. It helps to give a longevity to the eyeshadow application, but it also works really nicely in helping to be able to blend powders together as well, seamlessly. It's a really, really light application. I'm just buffing that across the eyelid up to the brow bone, and I'm just sweeping underneath the bottom lash line. We're going to be using our Variety Palette V2. We're going to be having some fun with some of our blues and greens. I'm going to be using a variation of the richer tones and some of the lighter tones as well, as we slowly build up a smoky eye. So the eyeshadow I'm going to begin the application with is turquoise, and I'm going to start by blending that into the inner corners of the eyelid. Now the key to creating a really kind of nice smoky eye is to always be blending it up past the application site. So with the opposite side of my brush that doesn't have product, I'm always blending it up and away from the applications towards the outer corner of the eye. The next colour I'm going to be applying is Petrol, and I'm applying that onto the outer corner of the eye, marrying it up to the edges of our previously applied turquoise. And again, I've got another clean brush here, just helping to blend that transition of colour together. Now, if you find it hard to judge placement, your key to your application is to always follow the bottom lash line and just continue that curve upwards. So this is the kind of direction that you want to be applying eye makeup. So we're pressing to apply the bulk of colour, so I'm stippling that onto the outer corner of the eye. And then with my second brush that has no product on it, just to help us with that blend, and then we're sweeping up and out away from the eye and through the socket line. So the next colour we're going to be applying is RB36, and I'm going to start by using that on the very outer corner of the eye, and then towards the end of the eye and bringing it up and round into the socket line, so we're getting a nice kind of depth to the very corner of the eye. And I'm using that in a stippling motion. I'm just pressing it into the area where I want the colour to be concentrated. And again, just using a nice clean brush just to blend them colours so that we get a nice transition and gradient between our three applied colours. Okay, using the same colour now, the RB36, we're just going to start to blend that underneath the bottom lash line and just connect that look together. So again, I'm going in with my nice big soft eyeshadow brush here, and I'm just sweeping over the top of that application. There's no colour on this brush, it's just blending and gives a nice soft smokiness underneath the eye. So what I want to do now is prepare brows and lashes. I'm just going to brush through the natural hairs just to see where they naturally lay. I'm just going to use a mixture of our darker tones here, and I'm just going to literally place it at the bottom root of the eyebrow and just gradually press up and through. I don't want it to be a solid colour, I just want to intensify the root of the lash. What's nice about this eyebrow powder is that it's a wax-based product, so as you're pressing up and through, it's helping to kind of shape the brow hair itself a little bit as well, just adding a bit of definition at the very root of the eyebrow. When you're using eyelash curler, I find it easier if you ask your client to look down towards their knees, and then I'm going to work underneath the lashes, and then when I can see that there's no skin in place, I'm just gently pumping the eyelash curlers, and I'm working my way up through the length of the lash hair as well. Gives you a nice soft graduation. Now we're moving on to the stage where we're going to be applying some of our polyester glimmers. We've got Sea Spray, Pastel Green, Light Green, Petrol and Pearl Green. And what we basically achieve by mixing all of them is this kind of beautiful variation of tone. When you've got different sized particles of glitter mixed together, that's going to create much more of a sparkle, much more of a reflection. They will all hit the light source at different times. I'm going to start by using the multi-gel primer. I'm literally just taking a minimal amount of the product onto a flat brush. I'm just pressing that over the areas that I intend to be applying my Polyester Glimmer. And I'm not wiping over the top of the eyeshadow. So I'm pressing and placing, and then using the excess of the multi-gel primer that's on my brush, I'm going to now dip that into the pre-made mix pot of the Polyester Glimmer. And what that's going to do is hold the Polyester Glimmer in place and just gently press and stipple that blend of Polyester Glimmers into the multi-gel primer. To complete the eye makeup, I'm just going to be applying Lash Revolution Mascara, wiggling the mascara wand from side to side, working my way from root to tip through the lashes. Now I'm coming back to my Indulgence palette. I'm just going to be now using a little bit of Icy Blush. This is going to help to lift the brow bone, accentuating that space between the eye and the brow bone itself. And in the inner corners, just open up the eyes, giving us a nice, beautiful highlight transition from the eye makeup to the skin. So I'm going to be using our lip sheer range just to add a little bit of a tint to the lips. The colour I'm selecting is Eva. Really beautiful, natural pink tone. And what we've done today is a nice festive look, focusing our polyester glimmers to add that little bit of sparkle for this festive season. Thank you for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoyed our tutorial today. If you want to see more from us, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.